Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the KnitChat Cafe. I have to say, when I first turned on my computer tonight, I think it's the first time this computer's on since we came home, and it said it was 11:25 a.m.
Oh,
tomorrow. So it was still on New Zealand time.
oh, right.
Yes. So I had to go in and fix that. And I'm like, no, I hope I know how to fix this before we start. But got it fixed. So anyway,
All
I'm
good.
home from New Zealand.
Yes, you
Home
are.
from New Zealand. Yes, I am. So my name is Noelle, and this is my friend
Kelly.
and we're coming to you from, both of us, from Southwestern Ontario. We are a mostly knitting podcast, and we do a live every Tuesday so that we can have fun and chat with all our friends in the KnitChat Cafe. So, and we've got people here from all over, and it's so nice to be able to connect this way. It was amazing that even when I was away, that we could still, from that far away, still be able to connect. Like, it's hard to believe, but
it was glitch free, which is even more amazing.
Well, yeah,
that doesn't fit our pattern.
Apparently airports are not glitch free though, because that's why we had to miss last week.
That's right.
So last week my flight, the little domestic flight, the short flight, was canceled, but of course that impacts all of your other flights. So our little short flight got canceled, which put our whole trip home 24 hours later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 36 hours coming home. By the time you change, it's just like the longest flight is 12 hours, but you've got a flight, first of all, to get to that airport for the international flight. And then once you get to the west coast of the US, we actually were in LA, then it's another 5 hours to get back to Toronto, right? So on the way home, the second 24 hours later, the first two flights went really well. And then for the third flight, they weren't going to let Penelope on the plane. So Penelope is my 10-month-old granddaughter, and they said, nope, she can't get on the plane. She doesn't have a boarding pass. And Air Canada is saying, nope, you have to contact Air New Zealand because it's not our booking. You have to change it there. Between Air New Zealand and Air Canada, it took 4 hours. We had about a 4.5 hour layover. It took 4 hours to get that straightened out and allow Penelope on the plane. So, and obviously none of us were coming home without her. So, no. So it was a long trip home. It took, I think we got to the gate 15 minutes before the plane boarded. So, went through security 3 times. And when you're going with a baby and you have all the baby paraphernalia, that's a long haul. But anyway, we're all home. We got home safely. And then, of course, once we land in Toronto, then we also have a 3-hour drive home.
So and you got home, I think you said at 1 a.m. So you
into Sarnia. We got into Sarnia at 5:30 in the morning on Thursday.
No, I mean, you got into Toronto at 1.
Yeah,
so
it was
that
about
meant you
1.
were driving home like through the darkest part of the night, and it was raining that night too.
And it was raining. It was pouring rain. I thought we are never going to get back to Sarnia, but we did.
Yeah,
and I'm here, and
well, I'm selfishly happy that you're home.
Well, I'm happy that I'm home too, but so things are gradually getting back to normal. I'm still not sleeping all that well, but I don't know whether that's because of the time change or because of the injuries or a combination of both. Mm-hmm. Probably a combination of both, but the injuries are getting better. I can certainly still knit. I obviously still can't work out. I got jeans on today.
Yay. That's a huge accomplishment.
That is a huge accomplishment because my back's been too swollen to get them on before. So that was a huge accomplishment. So obviously things are going in the right direction. So
very good. Very good.
Anyway.
So we have a few other people in here that are talking about some travel woes and
I know it's just like, why do airports have to be so difficult?
I know. Why? I know. But unfortunately too, I mean, it's hard because you have such a level, like you're already on a heightened sense of anxiety on travel day, especially for a long trip. And then when something goes wrong, it usually goes desperately wrong. And unfortunately, the person who's standing in front of you is the person that has the least amount of control, but they are all you have. You're trying
I know.
Not to, lose your temper with them. You understand the situation. It's not their fault. They're not causing you this difficulty, but you've basically got nobody else to be frustrated with. And it's just a sense of frustration, I guess, that nobody can help you and you can't make the situation better and you want to get home. And
Yep. But we're home. And I'd go, and I'd definitely go back. I would definitely go back. It's absolutely
not anytime soon, right?
Not anytime soon, but it's an absolutely beautiful country. And like, I mean, I got to do a lot of hiking and sightseeing for the first 2.5 weeks. And, you know, even in the last week and a half when I really couldn't do much, I was in beautiful locations with beautiful views that I got to, you know, I could still knit. So I actually got to sit and knit and had absolutely gorgeous scenery to look at. And yeah, so I mean, I definitely would go back. It just was amazing. So anyway, but
I'm just watching the comments here, and Petra is here from Abbotsford, and then who is it? Sorry, Julie is waving at her because she's from Mission, BC, 2 communities that are very close together, and they're also fairly close to Chilliwack, which is where Kendall lives now. So I'll have to keep those names in mind, and maybe the next time I'm out there, we can set a knit date and get together. That would be fun.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
So.
And Nick says, yes, Noelle, your spirits are still high. Yes. That's the drugs, Nick.
Well, ask Ross what they were like this morning. He'll tell you a different story.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm even not like I'm sleeping in our spare bedroom because like I'm up and down so much and moving that I would totally keep him awake if we were in the same. And he's starting to get used to the time change a little bit better than me. But apparently, like someone had told us that as far as time change go, for every hour difference, for every hour, it takes 1 day to recover.
Yes.
So that time change was like 17, 18 hours. So that's like 2.5 weeks to actually get back to, you know, feeling like you're back in the same time zone. So, so we're only that half a week. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but
yes,
that's okay. If in the middle of the night, if I get up and I really can't sleep anymore, I just come downstairs and I knit for a while and then I go back to bed.
Yeah, the beauty of retirement.
Luckily, we're retired. That's right. And we don't have to, you know, it's not like we have to get out there and be at a job. So my son didn't have to go back till yesterday. So hopefully they got a little bit. I know the first couple of days, I think Penelope was pretty turned around. It takes a little while to get back to Canadian Eastern Standard Time hours. So
speaking of not sleeping, I had one of those nights earlier. Well, not earlier this week. Today's only Tuesday. So I guess it was the end of last week. I'm a pretty good sleeper, so I don't usually have these nights, but I had one of those nights and I woke up. It was in the night, got up, went to the bathroom as ladies our age do at this time of the night, and went back to bed. And then I laid there awake and listened to my husband breathe and then snore.
I know.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I should just get up. I could just go sit downstairs and knit. But then I'm thinking, oh no, I have to go to work in a few hours. I need to get back to sleep. So then I just laid there. And the more I laid there, the more angry I got because my body wouldn't go back to sleep. And didn't have a great day the next day.
Well, I'm lucky because I don't have to be up for anything. So I can do that because there's nothing worse than laying there awake, just like, and I think that only makes you more anxious, which makes it harder to fall asleep. So, but anyway.
Cindy is saying that she missed how you got injured. Do you want to just quickly give a 30-second?
Okay. Well, we were on a hiking trail, and I apparently, this is what I've been told. There was kind of a rock sticking up. I wasn't looking at the ground. I was looking at the scenery or looking ahead. Actually, I was rushing because I really wanted to go to the washroom and I didn't want to use the outhouses. So we had to get back to the beginning of the trail, and we still had 2K to go. And so I tripped on a rock that was kind of jutted out. Unfortunately, it was kind of right by an embankment. So I kind of went over the embankment and down, I don't know, maybe a couple of meters and landed really hard on my right side. So I ended up having to be airlifted, winched out by helicopter and airlifted to a hospital. And I cracked 3 ribs, cracked a vertebrae, and cracked my pelvis. So none of the injuries or anything that needed surgery, just time to heal. So I'm getting a little better. I'm not as stiff as I was at first. I was pretty sore at first, but it is gradually getting better. I'm glad actually that we had the week and a half after, because I could not have gotten on a plane 2 days after.
No, absolutely not.
But
okay.
Yeah, so that's what happened. It was an experience. I can't say enough about the healthcare in New Zealand. The helicopter crew was amazing. The whole helicopter arrangement and getting me out of there and getting me to a hospital was, like you see, sometimes you see shows like that on TV, right? And you just think, oh yeah, I guess that happens. I don't know. Well, it happens. So that, anyway, they did a great job and I'm back home safe and sound. So,
yeah. I was just looking for something to pull in here, and now I uploaded it and I don't know where I put it. So that's why I'm looking distracted. But anyway, maybe I won't be showing it.
Okay, well, we should go on to some. We had some admin stuff that we should have done on our last get together, because one of the weeks that I was away, Natalie did a podcast with Kelly and she gave away one of her patterns on the live, but she also donated a pattern for people watching. And we didn't end up pulling that last time because we forgot. So we did do it this time, and I'll just pull that up here. Okay, so from that, the winner was Susie D. And that was, I believe, in the hashtag, you had to put in March socks. And let's see here what she says. She says, March socks are amazing, and she loves 9-inch needles.
Yay, Susie. So do I.
You are going to win a pattern of your choice from Natalie. And once we're done prizes here, we'll let you know how to get in touch with us. So then the other prize that we have to give away, the last time that we were here, which was, I think, my last week in New Zealand, so it'll be 2 weeks ago, we gave away a prize on the show. It was a prize yarn that I picked up at Ashford in Ashbury. It's in New Zealand. I can't remember what the actual little town is called, but the place is called Ashford, and it's a really nice merino sock yarn. So we gave away one.
It was this one. I'll show it off. It's so pretty. Whoa, I don't know what happened there.
I don't know what happened there either, but we gave away that one. And that was for the people that were watching at the time. But we also said that we would give away one from the comments under the podcast. And under the podcast, we asked you, where was your favorite place that you've either visited or wished to visit? So the winner for that, and this is the sock yarn for that prize. It's this gorgeous.
Oh, you want to show me? Okay.
Yep. Dusty, rose, peachy, just really nice.
I'm sorry, I don't know why it's not focusing. Okay, I'll just hold it back here.
Color.
It's very pretty.
Definitely my color.
Yeah.
Okay. So that prize goes to. Why are you not coming up here? There we go. Oh, no, that was the sock winner. Sorry. This one goes to Patty Skaggs. And she says that, I have to look really close to read it here. Her favorite trip was in 2000 with her mom and her daughter, and they went to the UK. Yeah, that would be a nice family trip. And I haven't been to the UK for a while, but it's definitely somewhere where I want to go back to. So congratulations, Patty. You've won this game of the New Zealand sock yarn. So for both of you, you can get in touch with us through knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com. For the pattern prize, if you're on Ravelry, if you just let us know your Ravelry ID, I can give you the code for picking your pattern. If you're not on Ravelry, if you want to give us your email information, and I will put you in touch with Natalie, and she said she could get you the pattern. And for the sock prize winner, if you just email us to knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com with your mailing address and full name.
Full name, yes.
Full name. And we will get that prize in the mail to you.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, so congratulations and thanks everybody for, there were some wonderful places that people have been and would like to go. And, I just think that since we've been kind of not going anywhere for a couple of years now, I just want to go everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but I'll stay home for the next little while. I think my next trip is not till we go to Knit City, Montreal.
Which is really soon.
I know.
It's not that far away at all.
It's not.
We've been chatting with some friends that we know are going. So we're excited that we have that don't live near us. So we're excited to go to Montreal and meet up with them and spend some time and have a little nitty visit. And we are excited to see everything that Knit City is going to have to offer. We're excited to meet some new people that I know that we're going to meet there. And just really looking forward to it. And as I said, it's not that far away. We are,
yes, I know. Yeah,
we're pretty much at the end of March. Yes, Isabel. We're pretty much at the end of March now. And it is the long weekend in May. So what's that, about seven weeks? Hour-long weekend. Yes.
Hour-long weekend.
So about 7 weeks away. Not that far. Just enough time to get you healed up.
That's right.
Yes.
There, Emma says that the Ashford store is in Ashburton. I knew the place was somewhere with Ash in the name of it, so it's Ashburton in the South Island. Gorgeous, gorgeous store. Like if you're ever there, go.
Okay.
And there's one last thing I want to show before we move on about New Zealand. I'm almost embarrassed to show this. Do you know what it is, Kelly?
Oh, the haul.
Because I'm not going to show it all. Like I'm not going to show it individually because Kelly and I are going to do a podcast about New Zealand. But here's just a picture of the yarn that I brought home. So some of it was shipped and we had to like jam my suitcase closed and sit on stuff to get it all home. But like I said, I didn't even want to put this on Instagram because I was just too embarrassed.
Well, I went on Saturday to pick Noelle up to take her out for a little outing, a little knit time at the coffee shop. And I tried to make a dent in the table. I told Ross I did my best. Noelle brought me some things for my birthday and then some other goodies. And I did. I made it. And then she also got some yarn that we've got tucked away for prizes. So yeah. I brought home like 3 little baggies full of yarn and it didn't make a dent in the table. No. So you know what? That's your
Irene says be embarrassed.
Yes.
You have to buy a bigger house now, Irene.
I'm going to make her wear oven mitts to Knit City so that she can't touch the yarn.
Anyway, it was fun. It was fun. And you know what? All of that yarn was either directly from New Zealand or was in some way or other related to New Zealand because none of it was yarn that I could just buy here in Canada.
That's right. That's right. So yeah.
That's how I had
to go all the way there and break some bones to get it.
That's right, Julia. No shame, just glorious additions. It brought me joy.
It's just a good thing that you did. It's a good thing you did all of that shopping before the tumble, though.
It was funny because Rachel said to me, she goes, "Are you glad to be home now and be reunited with your yarn?" I said, "Well, Rachel, to tell you the truth, I had a lot of the yarn with me."
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, that's right. Souvenir yarn does not count. It's a totally different brand on its own. It's in there with mohair condiments.
Condiments. Yeah, I'll go with that. I will go with that.
So.
All right.
Well, we haven't actually talked about knitting, so.
I was going to remind you that it is a knitting podcast, and maybe we should talk about knitting, but we could start with what we're wearing.
Okay. I'll go first because I know yours is an FO.
Segue. Yes, it is.
Okay, so I'll go first. So I am wearing the Fairy Bouquet by Joanna Ang. And let's see, I do have a banner for that. Not that I can see it, but I know it's on here somewhere. There we go. And this is knit. This is knit in souvenir yarn that I got when I was in Turkey. So this is Gazelle Rock and Roll. So it's actually a yarn that's made in Turkey. There is a lot of acrylic or whatever in it, but it's just got a beautiful shine to it and a beautiful sheen. And this pattern, I would do this pattern again. I love this pattern. It's got beautiful detail down the sleeves and then in the yoke of the sweater. And I can see I got a little stain on it there. I was doing something, then I kind of washed it off and it's still wet. So I'm just going to do this with my hand for the rest of the podcast. Anyway, love the sweater. Fits perfectly. I don't think I made any changes to the pattern other than I did wherever it was rib, I did twisted rib. Mm-hmm. And just super easy pattern to follow. One of my favorite constructions because it's a yoke to a certain point and then it's a raglan. And I find for me, this shape fits really well. Like it seems to fit across here really well. It fits the shoulders really well. It's still top down, so you're trying it on. So I would definitely look for more of this type of construction. I think we talked before, the ranunculus, which a lot of people wear and love, is also that type of construction.
Yes.
Where you do a rounded yoke first, and then you've got a little bit of a raglan kind of to bring it in under your arms. So that is what mine is.
It's one that I really like. That style, I really like that for myself as well. Mm-hmm. Okay. We had this too. There's
that's just a picture, outside picture. It looks really nice with the snow and you can see the length of it there. And it's, it just says, I would definitely recommend anybody do that pattern. It's once you get into the sleeves, like they look a little bit complicated, but once you get into the rhythm of it, it's fairly easy. So, and it's a thicker gauge. It's not like one of the sweaters I'm doing now is a 28 stitch gauge. And I think this one might be a 19 or 20. So it does knit up fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
I am wearing, well, okay, this is an FO too. So this falls into my whip a week, although I only have one finish this week. So technically, I guess that puts me behind a week because we weren't here last week, but that's okay.
It's a sweater. We can let a sweater count for 2.
Okay. It's the Fern and Feather by Jennifer Steingass. And I cast this on, I think last year. And then it got to be that time of year, like pretty close to now. And then I just put it away and I didn't feel like working on it anymore. So I pulled it out and I finished it. This is a, I can't really stand up. My mic is, or my headpiece is wired in, but this is a longer one. This is not a crop. So this is definitely what, by my definition, this is a jeans sweater or pants sweater. Wouldn't be something that I would wear over a dress because it's a longer profile. Color work at the top. Get my hair out of the way. It's color work all the way across the top. After you just said that about the sweater that you're wearing, I guess I wish that this one had a little more shaping down there as well. Like it fits really well across here, but it doesn't have that same, I don't know, like it feels a little bit more of a fitted sweater than like something that you're wearing, like my ranunculus. They just seem to be cozier, but it could also be the yarn. So the yarn is actually the Barocca Remix. And it's a recycled yarn if you haven't used it before. So it's 30% nylon, 27% cotton, 24% acrylic, 10% silk, and 9% linen. And then they mash all these fabrics up and create this. So when it's knit, the fabric, now I haven't blocked this yet. That's one thing we like about knitting with the Remix. You really don't even need to block it. It kind of looks perfect just with your knitting. But what I do find is it feels a lot more like a cotton sweatshirt. It's less woolly. Well, I mean, there's no wool in there. So that's why it's less woolly, but it's a nice sweater to throw on with jeans. And I know you've got a sweater knit in it as well. And then Barocca also makes a Remix Light, which is the same construction of fiber, but it's a thinner. So this is definitely a worsted, almost to a heavy worsted, I would say too. Yeah. It's pretty dense. Like this sweater feels fairly heavy. And
I would actually almost class that as an Aran. Like it really knits more like that. It might be classed as a worsted on there, but like when you knit it.
Yeah, it is classed as a 4 medium, which is a worsted. Yeah. But I would agree. Like this could definitely be used in an Aran weight. I think I did change it a bit because I didn't even really look at the pattern by the time I got to this point. I'll just pull up a picture of it. Maybe I can tell from the picture. I did twisted rib at the cuffs and at the waistband, and it doesn't look like that picture is twisted rib to me. So anyway, the colorways that I used, which is pretty close to that pattern picture, I just realized, is the green is spruce and the cream color is almond. And I bought this at Little Red Mitten, and they have a good selection of colors. So it wasn't, I will say it's not my favorite yarn to knit with, only because it is a dense yarn. It's kind of like, it's definitely, I don't know how I'm going to say this, that it's going to come out right. To me, it feels like when you're knitting a cotton dishcloth, not that the yarn is that coarse, because it's not, it's much softer than that, but it's got that same feeling on the needles.
It's because the yarn doesn't have the stretch that you're used to, or the springiness that you're used to when you knit with a wool.
Right. So I find it,
I find I'm tensioning tiring when I hold it.
Yeah. And I find it's a little bit tiring on my hands, as opposed to something that's, lighter and springier that just kind of flows on the needles. So I thought it was going to be a super quick knit. For me, it wasn't a quick knit just because of those issues, but I'm happy with the sweater. I'm happy with the fit. I think I made a size large. I don't know what that corresponded to. Like I said, once I got down to the details in the sweater, I was no longer looking at the pattern. But I definitely had fun doing the yoke. I love doing a color work yoke, and I like the rolled edge on the hem. I have not woven in ends yet, so we won't look too deep in there. So
someone had asked back if this was a DK, and I think so, but I can't remember. But I just wanted to let you know too that after this podcast, by tomorrow or later tomorrow, there will be show notes up, so you'll be able to go in and look at anything that we talk about or show. So all that information will be in there. I honestly can't remember, because when I look at a yarn for a sweater, I don't necessarily always look at whether it's a DK or this. I look at what the gauge is and what I think is going to work for that particular gauge, because like I find there's a lot of yarns, for instance, like this one, they'll have a classification on them, but I find when you actually go to knit with them, to me, sometimes they feel different, right? Because there's leeway between all of the gauges, right? If you say something's fingering, well, it depends. Is it like, some fingerings have 463 yards, some have 400. Well, obviously they're going to be slightly different. They're going to knit a little bit different. So, they'll say, oh, it's a heavy fingering or it's a light fingering.
A light fingering, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's the same when you get into, there's lots of places where DKs and worsted could actually be used interchangeably, just depending on what the gauge of the sweater is and how you want the fabric to behave. So anyway, oh, there we go. Sarah says that the fairy bouquet is 18.5 and they're calling for a fingering single and a
plus
mohair.
A mohair.
So I guess that would be close to a DK, but I would think a DK gauge really is more like a 20 to 22 than an 18.5.
Yeah.
Right. So Agreed. It just depends on the fabric that you want and the drape that you want, which is why we always tell people you should do a swatch, even though we don't.
Oh, sometimes I swatch. I don't quite do the swatch that maybe everybody else does. Swatch. I might do a little swatch, which probably lies, but that's okay.
Anyway. Well, that is it. When you do a small swatch, it's not going to tell you how the whole garment is going to behave, because when you get a lot more weight behind it, it's going to behave differently. If I do like a little swatch that weighs 2 grams compared to a sweater that weighs like 500 grams.
Absolutely.
That's a lot more weight in that sweater. So.
And Sarah says the yarn that you used on Ravelry is classed as a sport weight.
Oh, there you go.
So that makes no sense at all.
So I just looked at the gauge and I looked at this and I thought, yeah, I think that'll fit right. So anyway, it worked out fine. And when I start, I do, like once I do a little bit, I do kind of check to make sure I'm at least in the ballpark. Right. So when I get some in here where I've at least got some stocking stitch that I can measure, I will look at it and make sure I'm in the right ballpark for what I want for a particular gauge. So,
yeah.
Okay.
It's a really nice pattern. We were talking about that one on Saturday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
It is. And it's not a whole lot of detail to give like a lot of impact that makes you look like you've done more than you've really done. So like I would say, other than the sleeves, because you've got the detail doing down the sleeves, all of this is no more difficult than doing a ranunculus.
No, because actually, and if you didn't want to do the sleeves, you don't have to. You could just you could do that as a straight stockinette.
Nope, you could just do that. You could just like end with this rib around and then just do the sleeves plain.
So if you got to that point and you said, that's it, I'm done, I don't want to do anything more, that's fussy, you could do that. So, and
it does have a really cute detail because it's got kind of like the little bit of the cable going down the side too.
Oh, that is nice.
I always like when it's got something like that. It also makes it easier to block because you know exactly where the sides of your garment are. Whereas if you've got something that's totally in the round and you sometimes might get a little bit of that spiraling, it's a little bit harder to block and get it shaped properly. So, okay. So no other finishes, right? For you?
Not for me.
Okay. I just want to go back a minute to my Somerset because I did have it done on the last podcast, but I had not blocked it. So I do have it here. It is blocked now. So it really does make a big difference in how it evens out all of the color work. Not even evens it out. It's just how this yarn, how the super soft fills in when you block it. Like until you feel it and see it, like it's hard to explain the difference. But even in the way the sweater moves,
you can see the drape and everything of it.
Yes, it doesn't have the stiffness and stuff in it. But you can see that this is quite a dark color. for the base of the sweater. And then I've got other lighter colors in here. So I took a few pictures when I was doing it, just so you could see how much color actually comes out of this. So let me see where I've got them here. Okay, so that's my finish water. You can see the color catcher in there. So that's when I finally took it out. So that is actually a lot lighter than some of the other pictures. Here's another picture.
I wondered what that picture was in there for.
Yeah.
I thought, why is Noelle showing us her dishwater?
Oh, wait. That's not the one I wanted to show. There, this is where I actually put in, when I'm doing it like this, and I must have missed the picture. I was putting it in and the program was giving me a hard time. So I don't have the picture of how dark, but the water initially was so dark you couldn't see through it. But this is what I do when I've got a sweater like this. So in this case, I just put in the bottom of the sweater and I left the top of the sweater kind of hanging out so that the white part's not going in with that. So I did that a couple of times to get the most of the water out of both the body. And I also did the same with the sleeves. I just kind of stuck the sleeves in. And then I think that's all the pictures I've got there. So then that final picture that I showed you here, that's how it was when I finally took the garment out after soaking it for the 20 minutes. But I made sure I did those other ones first so I could like kind of squeeze out a lot of the dye from both the body of the sweater and the sleeves of the sweater. And that was just with putting a little bit of the Eucalan in with it. Mm-hmm. And then again, here's my blocking picture. Because again, and I think I don't know if you do this too, Kelly, I use the pool noodles.
On the side.
Right? Because yes. I don't like that side to be perfectly flat. So it's kind of got a crease mark down the side. Same with the sleeve. So I use the cut up pool noodles and I stick it in the sleeve and I stick it in the sides of the sweater so that it kind of dries. And then when you're done, like you've really got, if you look at the sides of this, like you've got no seam line, no hard line down the side of it. And same with down the top of your sleeve and your yoke. And that's, I think I've got a couple of different pool noodles in different diameters so that I cut them. Yes. And then it's appropriate for whatever I'm using it for.
Mm-hmm. Karen's
Karen's
asking where we get the color catchers.
Those I got at Little Red Mitten. I don't know if they have any more right at the moment or not.
I got mine at Wool and Silk. I know some people have talked about getting them on Amazon if you're an Amazon shopper. Sometimes your grocery store will have them like in the laundry department, but yeah, you could try a few different places.
Yep. Anyway, I forgot to, I'm not very organized. I'll be right back. I have my other FO, but it's not here.
I still have these here. I showed these last week too. And I didn't use a color catcher with these, but these are the, there we go. These are the, this is also in the Holst Super Soft. And you can see there's quite a difference in color between the white and this navy blue. I did put them all into the same dish. I was just showing how I didn't use a color catcher with these. And I was worried that once I put them in there, I thought, oh, should I have done that? But they came out completely fine. Yeah. There's no color in that white at all. And the water was quite dark when I took them out. So I was a little bit worried. The other nice thing about the Holst Super Soft, after you wring that out, not wring it out, but roll it out in the towels, this takes no time at all to dry.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I know.
It doesn't. It's a super fast project for a wool.
Yeah. And that's the same with my sweater. I don't know whether it would have transferred onto the white or not. I just didn't want to take any chances. So that's why I do it that way. I mean, it doesn't take that much longer to do it. So, because I have heard other podcasts say that they did have trouble with it, with color transferring onto some of the lighter colors. And again, everybody's water is different too. It could be the water.
Right? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, this is my
very nice
object. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you. Just a minute. This. My headphones are dead.
Oh, great.
Okay. Gotta go get the other headphones. Just a minute. Talk.
I love how she shows something and then she walks away from it, leaving me with dead air, dead space. I know what I could talk about. I was going to mention this earlier, just a second. I started a new book this week, and it's a book by Michelle Obama, and it's called, oh gosh, somebody else might know. The light we carry, the light we show, something about the light. And she talks about in the very first, can you hear me yet?
Yep.
Yep. In the very first chapter of her book, she talks about knitting and how knitting got her through some pretty uncertain times in the pandemic. And she said that she felt she knew how to knit. So she ordered beginner knitting needles. And then she started watching some YouTube. Thank you, Jeannie, the light we carry. And anyway, she became a knitter during the pandemic. But the one thing that she said, and this has kind of stuck with me all week, because I'm sure a lot of us use our knitting to calm a busy mind. And she said for her, by taking the focus off of her head and putting the focus into her hands, she said it's like driving a car where you put the brain in the back seat in a seatbelt and you let the hands do all the work. And that is kind of like knitting, right? Like we're just letting our hands take over the repetitive motions, the rhythmic counting in our heads. And then it just quiets all of that other chaos in our heads and just lets us, like, I have to spend a little bit of time. If I end up going to bed at night where I didn't get a chance to knit that day, I truly feel like I was robbed of something. I need that little bit of time to just settle. You get lots of that time, I know, but
yeah,
I need that.
But that's what I need. I need to like the repetitive stuff, but then I also need stuff where I have to focus. So, and it serves two different purposes.
Yes.
Right. So, okay. So here's my, and you've got the post up already, but these are the Geek Socks by Wei S. Leong. These are done in Timber Yarns Marled Twin Sock, and this color is True Purple. So this is my third pair finished for Christmas 2023. So I'm on schedule, and I will start the next pair in April. And this is the third men's pair that are done for Christmas 2023. So I'm happy that the men's ones are done. This was a fun pattern. It kind of just does slip stitches to give you a little bit of a ripple when you change colors. So I continued that down, and then on the foot of the sock, I just did plain stocking stitch, because you can feel where you've kind of slipped the stitches. You can feel it a little bit. So I didn't want that on the sole. So I just did plain stocking stitch on the sole. It's an Afterthought heel, which is also Timber Yarns in their licorice colorway. So 3
Very
pairs.
Nice. Very nice.
Done. Yay.
Yay. You're on your way.
I am. So that's it for FOs.
Okay.
Okay. What are you working on?
Well, the last time we were together, I showed the beginnings of a project that was this big. I can report that the project is now, sorry for the needle sound, is now this big. And
I felt it. It feels amazing.
Amazing. And I was pleasantly surprised yesterday. So this is the Holst Haya, and this is the colorway Rosé. And I decided to pair this with Titicaca in Rose Bay. And this is such a muted color, and it has yak. So that speaks to why you're seeing that little bit of a brown tone in the yarn. But I thought this was just enough of a pop to kind of brighten that yarn up. Whoops, just a wee little bit. That focus is terrible. I'm so sorry. And yesterday on Instagram, on the gram, I noticed that Holst put a post, and they said that on their Titicaca page, they have like a list down at the bottom of the perfect pairings that everything pairs with. And they said that they didn't have a pairing. I don't know if it was for either this color or this color. They didn't have a pairing. So she said that her sister decided to put these two colors together. Great minds think alike. And I think it's a winner. I love it. I really love it. And there's no point in me going up to that camera because something is amiss. But you can see a real haze to this, even though it's not mohair. So this is just a little Sophie scarf. I'm at almost about the halfway point on this. And I'm not knitting it as wide as the pattern calls for because I like it just a little bit narrower, but it's so, so, so soft, so soft. So if you are looking for a new yarn to try, and maybe you are not in camp mohair and you want something softer, this is 100% soft baby alpaca, and this is yak, alpaca, and silk. So lovely, lovely little project. And this is going to be so pretty for spring. Nice spring color. Should have had it done, but you know, life.
Okay,
Busy life.
I noticed through the comments here that there were some comments about the Somerset sweater, and I didn't really talk a lot about it because it was a finished object last time, but it is the Somerset sweater. It is by Beth McDonald Stone. It has been released. I did that as a test knit. It's done in Holst Garn, super soft, and it is held single because I believe the tension in the pattern is like 27 stitches.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, that will be linked in the show notes. So you can actually go, I've got all the information on my project page, but it is the Holst super soft held single. So consequently, the sweater weighs next to nothing. So, because the Holst goes a long way. Okay, so I have a couple of other pairs of socks that I'm working on. This is a pair that wasn't even included with my New Zealand yarn because I'm already knitting it. So it wasn't even in that picture with all the yarn.
I love that yarn. I love it.
So this yarn is, this is just a pattern that I made up. It's got a 2x2 cuff with a mock cable in it. And then I just went to, it's actually a 5x1 rib, just to give it ribbing. Just a heel flap and gusset. And then when I got down to the bottom, I didn't continue the rib on the sole. I just did the sole and stocking stitch and just continued the rib down the top of the foot. But the yarn is Sock Bandit. So this is by Outlaw Yarns. And we did go to Outlaw Yarns. So I got this there. This color is called Tomfoolery Sprinkles. And the colors are like this purple and navy and gold, and I really like it. And the yarn is actually 100% superwash merino, so there's no nylon in this yarn.
But it's a really high twist, right?
It is a really high twist. And when I talked to the girl that worked there, she said the yarn is, even though it's machine washable, it is not superwash treated. It's just whatever they do or how they twist it that you can actually machine wash it. So I'm still probably going to hand wash it because I'm just going to, but plus, if there's not any nylon in there, I think it'll be better if I just hand wash it. But yeah, it just was fun. They come in 50-gram balls. I've got a little bit left of the first one, so I might have enough left to do a baby pair after I'm done the socks. So it was just kind of a fun color. And it does feel like it is merino, but it does feel, I wouldn't say rustic, but it definitely doesn't feel as soft. Like, you know how superwash yarn usually feels softer? Like you felt it. It doesn't feel like a typical merino yarn. Like you do feel like it's got some tooth to it that it should hold up.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll let you know after I wear them.
I think you're right. I think that's from the twist for sure.
Yeah. So those are one sock that I'm working on. And then I finished one of this is my Dunbrock socks. Is that focusing there?
Yes. No, it's just totally me.
Okay.
Yours is fine.
So this is the Dunbrock sock by KF Jones. And this is done in Barocco vintage sock. So we've talked about the Barocco yarns before, or the Barocco vintage yarns, and they come in DK, it comes in a worsted. So it now comes in, which we found last time we went to Country Yarns, just outside of Sarnia. And both Kelly and I picked up some of this. So this is a sock yarn. It's got 40% wool. There's some nylon, some acrylic. It feels amazing.
It does.
Like it really feels amazing.
Feels amazing.
It shows up the texture beautifully. It's got these heathery tones in it. And it's so inexpensive.
Very inexpensive. For us, so, I believe it was $13.
$13 for
a 100 gram skein. Yes.
And like definitely it is like a thinner 4-ply. So it is a lighter fingering, but there's definitely going to be enough for a pair of these. And these are quite long because in this pattern, like the the rib goes all the way up. So you have the
Gosh,
choice of
that
either
cuff
putting
looks
it up
amazing. What a lovely
or
cuff that
folding
is.
it down. Well, I know, except for the few rows at the beginning are kind of not the same gauge.
I knit that cuff.
She didn't knit the whole cuff.
I knit the top
Well,
half.
because Kelly, there's 30 rows in that cuff. There's no way you knit
No
that
way I
cuff.
would knit a 30-row cuff. No way. No way. You're right.
But anyway, it's yeah, I really, really like it. Love the pattern, love the yarn. I will definitely be getting more of this. And it's kind of nice to have a more solid yarn if you do a really textured sock, because the texture shows up a lot nicer.
Absolutely.
So
I need more solid
okay.
color yarn socks in my.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not going to say I need more yarn after showing that picture I just showed.
No, I need more solid colored socks though. And I actually don't have very much solid colored yarn. Mostly everything is patterned of some
I know.
way,
I
shape.
think that now I've kind of gone away from buying all of the. Oh, I say that after I just showed this, but but most
That's
of the yarn
fun.
I bought
I like
was,
that in the short
solid
runs.
colors. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Do you have any other whips? No? Okay. I have a couple. So I'm still working on, this is the Petite Knit Tea? No, Friday Tea.
Friday Tea.
This is Friday Tea by Petite Knit. So I am down at the bottom rib. Love the detail in the sweater. Love how they do the increases. Like
I'm
the
obsessed with that. I am obsessed with the way that looks.
And it's a broken rib. It absolutely just feels amazing. Like I just can't describe it. I want to knit one for me, but we'll see. But anyway, this is the sample that I'm doing for Leo and Roxy. So this is in the Leo and Roxy Basics yarn. The colorways are Raspberry Ripple and Queen's Navy. And
so affordable.
And I'm only just into the third skein of the Raspberry Ripple.
Wow.
So like the yarn really goes far. And so right now I've got 2 inches of rib at the bottom, and then the sleeves are just 4.5 inches, and then the cuff. So I will have that one done by next week. Like I said, it's just, you have to feel this texture. I know you felt it because I've had the baby sweaters done, but it just is like the broken rib just makes an amazing fabric. So I will be doing another couple of these because I'm doing 3 of them for samples. So good thing I like doing it.
Yeah. You won't want to make yourself one though after that, after 3.
I won't want, maybe not this year. Maybe I'll do myself one next year. So anyway, so that will be hopefully an FO next week, because I'm going to drop that off to Jolene because she's got a trunk show somewhere out west with Leo and Roxy, I believe in April. So I want to get that done and get it to her. And then there's one other project that I've started. So this is a cardigan for one of my granddaughters. And this is yarn that I got in New Zealand. You can't really see it yet, but you can't see the pattern yet, but you will be able to see it once I'm done, I hope. But anyway, this is yarn that I got in New Zealand. And this is 100% wool. And this was called Vintage Abroad. Mm-hmm. It's a DK weight wool. This was like $3.95 a skein.
Oh, I like that.
So how could I not buy it?
How could you not? How much of it did you buy?
Enough for each of the girls to have a sweater. And then this is the color that's going in it. So you can see it's kind of like a variegated marled.
Oh, very nice.
And this one is called Pulse. So this one is super wash, but this one is not. So I didn't steek it. This is the feather cardigan by was it
Fox
Heidi
and
May?
Pine?
Heidi May, who is
Heidi May. Acorn.
Yeah,
Acorn
something
Designs?
Acorn.
Yes.
It'll be in the show notes. But anyways, and her patterns go right from baby right up to adult. And I have done this for myself before. And I remember when I was doing it for me, the pattern wasn't really, you couldn't really see it until you were done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this yarn too was, I think this one was $5.95.
We like that.
And it's like goes from you can see the colors on the inside, and it's 100% wool. Yeah. This color is called Flutter. And I think this one was called Wedgwood Blue.
I like that. It's really nice. Really nice.
Anyways, it's going to be a cardigan. So I figure even if it just looks like a multicolored yoke, it'll be fine for a cardigan. I'll just get some buttons that look good on it, and it'll still serve the purpose for keeping a child warm. But anyway, I just needed to get back and do some color work. So, but anyways, and so talking about steeking or not steeking, what I did pick up there was some ribbons. And actually, if I had have done that one, this would have been the perfect ribbon with the little blue polka dots on it to sew down a steek. So I got enough of a couple of different ribbons just so that when I do this one, I want to do myself a cardigan either in gray and have this on it. So this ribbon's got it's got the kiwi bird on it.
Oh, the kiwi bird. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So which is native to New Zealand. And then the other one that I got was this one. Because it's hard to find ribbons here.
Well, yes,
like Fabricland really doesn't have a very big supply of them. And the other ones, you're kind of looking online, so it's hard to know what it really feels like. So this was just a little, what was it called? It was a vintage fabric store that we were just in this little town having a coffee. And I'm like, oh, look at that store. I need to go in it. So I did. And yeah, and so I just picked up a couple of ribbons. And I mean, that's a nice souvenir too. And I know how much I need for the front of a cardigan for me. So I just picked those up.
Sue, yes,
that's all I'm working on.
Sue says, if you buy yarn to use in a project with yarn that you already have, is that considered stash neutral? Sure.
It's helping me get rid of, just like I want to buy some of that I want to buy some of that sequined yarn to hold with something.
I know.
I consider that a condiment.
That's definitely a condiment. You can't make any project just out of that.
Just with that.
Definitely
That's right.
a condiment. It's an add-on.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's right.
And Nick says those ribbons are cute enough to make her want to try steeking something. Oh, steek something.
You should. It's really not that difficult. It's really not. So anyway, and hopefully, like I said, Jolynn had said that she might start to look around to see if she can find some ribbons. So
okay,
you never know. We might have more places to look for it. That's right, Julia. It's like putting sprinkles on a birthday cake.
Right?
Well, I guess you could just eat the sprinkles by themselves, but it's way more fun to eat them with the birthday cake. Yeah, Jeannie says she wants that sequin yarn as well. I keep looking at it and I'm like, oh, just stop.
I know.
I keep thinking, just wait till you're ready to start whatever you're going to do with it and then get it.
But if
what if it's not available then?
Something. That's right. I know. I'm pretty sure that we might be able to find it in Montreal too.
Yeah.
Because I know there's different weights. I want the really fine weight.
Yeah, so do I. I want the one that's almost like a lace weight so it doesn't add a whole lot of bulk to your sweater.
Yeah. And not too much. I don't want like to be too sequiny.
Oh, no, I want it blingy.
I'm not that girl.
I want it blingy.
Well, then you should get the big sequins. The sequins that are, perfectly
well, I don't know if
round.
I want them big, but I want lots of them.
You want lots of them. Would it bring you joy?
It would.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Marianne. Marianne says you are in the wrong line of work if you want to use that sparkle all by itself as a knitting project. I like that.
I didn't say I wanted to use it all by itself.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
Goodness.
Okay, that's all that I've really worked on. So I keep seeing lots more things that I want to start, but I really should finish some things first.
Be prepared. I feel like this is going to be a big cast on week for me. I'm not going to, maybe it won't be. Maybe these are all things in my head, but I feel like I want to cast all the things on right now. So I don't know. Sometimes when I finish a project, I get like that too. I'm just like, oh, I want to knit this. I want to knit this. And then, I missed 3 weeks at the coffee shop where I didn't get to see what everybody was up to. And then we get together at the coffee shop on Saturday. And then I see the things that everybody else is making. And I'm like, oh, I want to cast on all the things. So then I saw those socks you were working on and I really liked those. And that inspired me. And then, I got some new yarn on Saturday from a lovely shop in a house and on the side of Sarnia. That's the store in there. And they display their yarn on dining room tables. So I got some.
Where was that? I didn't hear about this.
Your house.
Oh, that house. Okay. I'm like, like, what? Are you not telling me something here?
I'm thinking, when is she going to clue in? So
I'm like, you went to someone's house that was selling yarn and you didn't take me?
no, they weren't selling it. They were giving it away. Are we at that point that I could show it now?
Yes, you can show it.
Okay.
I'm not showing all of mine. I'll save what I've got and show it on. I'm going to show it when we do the New Zealand thing, but you can show yours because it will take too long for a whole episode for me to just show everything.
Absolutely. So I'll show it and then you can maybe talk about where it's from.
Okay.
And yes, we are actually going to record an episode, like one of our what's the word? What is the word? Edited. Oh gosh.
Podcast, an actual podcast, not a live.
An actual podcast where I do the post-processing work on it. So it's, yeah. Julie is laughing. Whose house?
Yeah, see, Julie wanted to go too.
Got everybody so excited. All right, I'll start with this. This was my birthday gift. So she brought me back a sweater's quantity of this. And this is yarn by Truly Myrtle. And this is
it's actually by Southlander. It's Southlander. It's just different colors are from Truly Myrtle.
Okay.
A certain color range.
And this is 100% wool, New Zealand made, and it's a 5-ply sport limited edition. Very, very beautiful. Love this color.
And I think that color is called Hope.
It is. What was the one that I didn't pick? Do you remember?
Goldenrod.
Yes, friends, I passed on a gold yarn. I did because I really like the shade of this. This one is so pretty. Really pretty. So thank you for my birthday gift.
Oh, you're welcome.
And then also, suspiciously similar, I got this one, which is a hand-painted sock yarn, 75% merino, 25% nylon. Look at the colors. And there's some gold.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love the way that blue is playing off of the burgundy and the gold. Maybe these socks will get cast on. This is so pretty. Look at this. Look, Julia, it's teal too. Really pretty.
I know, and it feels amazing.
It does.
So soft.
It is really soft.
That's the same as the yarn that we're giving out as the prizes for.
Yes, it is.
That we pulled one today.
And then there's this one. Unwind and Knit With Me. And this is colorway Volcanic. This is a high twist, 100% merino. So pretty. Look at the gold in there.
That one is, the Unwind and Knit With Me. I went to visit Lisa, who lives in Christchurch, and she has a podcast called Unwind and Knit With Me. She also has a little shop in her house. She does do like mail order or online sales. And that particular one, she's got a few colors and a couple of bases that she has someone dye the yarn for her. So then it's labeled her own brand, like the Unwind and Knit With Me. She's knitting in that color, that volcanic color right now, Kelly, and it is gorgeous.
It's really beautiful.
It is really beautiful. And the yarn feels super nice. And
what was she making?
A sweater.
A sweater.
We don't have enough to make a sweater, sorry.
Well, I might have enough to make a sweater the way Marianne was talking about making clothes.
But anyway, it's she has a gorgeous little shop. She carries yarn like that, which is her own brand. She carries a lot of the John Arbin brands, and she carries some Jameson and Smith. She tries to get in yarns because a lot of the yarns from like overseas, like from Britain and that are hard for them to get in New Zealand. So she kind of brings it in and then people can get it from her, kind of the way people can buy like a lot of those yarns from the Woolly Thistle in the States.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, gorgeous yarn. So
very nice.
And when we do the New Zealand episode, I actually did a little interview with her. So we'll actually show that on the New Zealand episode.
Yeah.
So
what else did we have in here? I'm just looking on the back.
Well, we should we haven't even talked about our cows.
No.
Okay. So we have a few cows that are going on at the moment. 3, in fact, I think. So one is our sock cal, which goes all year. It started January 1st, and all you have to do is finish socks. So we draw prizes every month. And when we draw, we go from the end of the month, but we start right back to the beginning of the year. So the more pairs of socks that you get in there, the more chances you have to win. And we've had where sometimes, June or July, the prize that wins is a pair of socks that got put in there in January.
Absolutely.
So
well, the last
just all you have to do
February,
is finish your socks.
Yeah, in February when I drew, I think one of the winners was a 5.
Yeah.
And then the other winner was like right at the
like
end.
2 before. Yeah. So
yeah.
Natalie from Remembrances Pottery, she gives us sock patterns to give away. So every month there's a sock pattern prize and there's also a yarn prize. And then at the end of the year, we'll have a grand prize, which will again go back and include everything from the beginning of the year will be entered for the grand prize. Okay, so that's whip number 1, not whip number 1, Cal number 1, Mal number 1.
We're out of practice. Okay. We had a week off.
We are.
We can't talk. We can't remember. Noelle's hardware is failing. Yeah, my camera's not working. I don't know how.
Anyways, whatever.
We're out of practice.
I didn't check them, I must admit, but usually they last for a whole lot longer. Maybe I've left them on. Last time we did the podcast, I was probably drugged up. I probably forgot to turn them off. Anyway. Okay. So do you want to talk about the Smash That Stash?
Smash That Stash.
Oh, I can't include anything that I'm knitting now.
You give me the one with all of the things, all of the details. You just like to see me fail. Smash That Stash. The yarn that you're using has to have been in your stash prior to January 1st of 2023. Correct. You have to have at least 50 grams in the project of that yarn. Is that one of the requirements? This is such a test.
It has to be 50 grams. Yeah, 50 grams.
And we are doing quarterly installments. We're running the Makealong for the entire year, but we will draw a prize at the end of each quarter, March, June, September, and December. But we are only going to draw from that quarter. So,
yeah, because I will start a new thread for the next quarter. So there will be 4 individual threads for each.
Yes. But there will be a grand prize at the end of the year. And
I forgot to bring that down too, but sorry, I can't run up the stairs and get it and come down in the amount of time we have left in the podcast.
It's a really nice prize. We'll show it next week. It's a really nice prize. Did I miss anything? I thought there was another rule in there that I'm missing.
No, it's just that if you enter something in all 4 quarters, then you'll be eligible for the grand prize.
For the grand prize.
And you can enter, like in any one particular month, you can enter as many as you want, and whips were allowed.
Yes, that's what I forgot.
Yeah. So if you started something this quarter and you didn't get it finished, you can put it in next quarter.
Next quarter.
So, okay. And then the other Makealong that we have going on is the Buracal cowl, but in our case, we are including any Marie Wallen pattern or Susan Crawford pattern. Again, I haven't touched mine, but I need to get back to that. Well, my goal is just to have it done for when we go to the mini meetup, which is not till
July.
So I have other things that I have to get finished up. But anyway, all you have to do is finish one of those patterns. And there are threads on Ravelry for both a chatter thread and a finished object thread. We are doing that in conjunction with several different podcasts. So there's 3-Ply, Around the Table Yarns, Dude Knits, Frivolous and Frugal, Got Whips, Magpie's Cottage, Pandemic Knitter, and PJ Knits. So if you go in and check out their podcasts or their groups on Ravelry, they might have slightly different rules than we do. But if their rules allow you to enter, you can double or triple dip in as many of the podcasts as you want. So
multi-dip.
Yeah. Only place you're allowed to multi-dip.
Yes. Socially
Not when you're
acceptable.
At a restaurant.
Socially acceptable.
Socially acceptable multiple dipping.
Yes. Okay. Sue's asking, do we know the number of our episode that we explained how to post to Ravelry?
Post on Ravelry.
Do we remember that?
I don't, but I can go through it, and I'll go through it and I'll find it for next week.
Okay.
So
and
And someone had asked about show notes too. I'm going to film a little thing. We tried to do it before, but because the screams, I'm going to get Ross film me doing it. And then we can show that next week. That shows how to get to the show notes and where they are and how to click on things. So we will do that for next week as well.
Lynn wants to know if I could give directions to the house that gives away such beautiful yarn. She said that she would be willing to travel from Maine to visit the house.
Well, you can come visit it. I'm not sure there's more yarn that will be given away, but we could probably find something.
And Bernice is asking, how much shrinkage have we noticed with the Holst? Okay, so we've talked about it before. Well,
yeah.
With the Holst Super Soft, we did not.
Super Soft, I haven't. I did with the Tides.
With the Tides, you did notice.
I did also launder them differently.
Yes, you did. You spun it out.
So I spun it out. And that is providing a certain amount of friction when you do that.
Yes, it is. So that may have been the issue. Marianne just finished a sweater in Tides. Did you notice any shrinkage, Marianne? I know you held it, I think, with mohair. I don't know if you noticed that. Okay. I did have another picture stuck in here. So this was a finish a couple of weeks ago, but I took it out for a run this weekend. Well, not a run. I took it to the coffee shop. So that was the hat and glove set that I made out of the blue brick yarn. And I bought that as a kit in Kitchener. So it's a slow fade. I really like the pattern. I did change the pattern of the hat. I added an extra long brim onto it because I had lots of yarn left over so I could have a thicker roll around my skinny head. And then the dress is actually me made as well. That's a Hinterland dress by So Liberated. And I've never worn it like that before with a sweater underneath. I usually wear it with a sweater over top. So that was kind of new and fun as well.
I was actually thinking of like mine, the one that you made me as linen, but I was thinking it would look, because like I said, I just got jeans on today. So I'm thinking, what can I wear? Well, I could have worn that, and I've got tights that are really loose around the waist, but I could have worn a black turtleneck under it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the dress and then black tights, and it would have looked fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Marianne says she didn't have any shrinkage with her Tides. So I think it's the way I laundered it.
Okay.
So I won't do that in the future, because I've knit with Tides held with a mohair before and didn't notice any shrinkage, but I didn't put it into spin. The reason I did with this one in particular was because it was held double. So it was a fairly heavy cardigan by the time it was done. I was impatient to have it finished. So I wanted to spin as much water out as possible instead of just letting it dry. I won't do that again in the future. So.
And Linda's saying that she heard on another podcaster's that the whole Super Soft pills and sheds a lot. Now, I've not had that experience.
I have not had that happen either with mine.
Ever. No. I have some of the Super Soft projects that I've wore the heck out of, and I've never gotten even remotely any amount of pilling. So I don't know.
Like I know the one the first one I made was the Winterfell by Skein-Deer, and I've worn that one lots. Like you remember that one? I have never depilled it. So I don't know. And again, sometimes with pilling, it can be the tension that you knit something at. Like I think sometimes if you're at a tighter gauge, you don't quite get the pilling that you'll get that if you're at a looser gauge, because more of the fibers have kind of clung to each other. I don't know. Like I can't think of you know what I mean? If you do something at a really loose gauge, it's probably more likely to pill because there's more surface area of that yarn to rub against something else.
Yeah, I've never had that problem.
Don't know.
And I've even used it. Like this is not my only pair. Like I've got other like outerwear knits too that get a lot of like abuse, you know, like this would get a lot of wear and tear on the palm. They're completely fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I have gloves done or mitts done in the Super Soft, and they've been fine. But Patricia said that she has knit with Holst and hasn't found anything pilling on it. So I mean, I don't know. And we can just tell you what our experience is. So
Marianne hasn't either. So I did order something new last week. It's not here yet,
yarn?
But I will show. Yes, I did. I finally got some Nudiden, and
did you?
I'm excited about this. That stuff goes fast. I had to go with my second option. My first option was sold out right off the hop. Well, it wasn't sold out when I signed on, but I had no idea I didn't know what I was up against in there. So I was choosing what I wanted, but I didn't move quick enough because I was waffling while I was in there. And he who waffles loses. So I didn't get what I first put in the cart, but I did get my second choice, and it's really pretty. So I'm looking forward to getting that. It has been shipped. I don't know if it'll be here by next week to show off or not. Depends. But if it is, I'll certainly show it off. Yeah. All right. Do we have anything else? I think we are.
That's all I have.
My bags are empty.
I do see Marg also commented here that her Holskarn Coast hasn't pilled, and she's used it on several pieces in various gauges, and it hasn't pilled. So.
And Bev is saying that she did have pilling when she held Super Soft with Drops Alpaca Silk, but no pilling working with either yarn by itself. Now I made a vest with the Super Soft and the alpaca.
That wasn't the alpaca
baby alpaca.
That was just Yeah,
I used the baby alpaca from Drops, and I've worn that vest. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on with my throat tonight. I've worn that vest a lot, and I have no pilling. So Lori already got her knitted in. Oh,
wow.
Goodness. Jackie says she's going to Montreal. I'm just reading all the comments now. I'm sorry.
Yay.
So, okay.
We'll see you in Montreal, Jackie. I'm excited. So
I am.
I can't buy a lot of yarn though. Not unless I knit this all up before then.
Do you want me to physically restrict you from the yarn?
No.
Okay, we are practicing the longest Canadian goodbye ever here.
We are.
We've said all of our goodbyes, and we're all the way out to the driveway. We're sitting in the car. We're still chatting through the open window. So this is it.
So, okay. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's nice to have a little visit. We miss it when we aren't here for a week.
I definitely missed it last week.
It does. It just seems like it's not Tuesday, but anyway. We will be back next week, and looking forward to chatting with everyone again. So in the meantime, have a great week and happy knitting.